welcome to Belinda's DIYs. So in this video, we're going to be doing a lot of easy and beautiful fall DIYs. So are you ready? So I'm going to start with these glass jack-o'-lanterns, and these are found at Dollar Tree. So I'm going to be using a solar light, and all I'm going to do is remove the top portion, and I'm going to super glue it to the top opening of the jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to give it a few minutes for the glue to harden. I made another one so there would be a pair. And now I'm going to flip it over and super glue the bottom portion of the solar light. I'm going to let the glue harden, and then I'm going to go put them outside. These are adorable. I love them and so easy to make. The Plus section at Dollar Tree has this pack of canvases for $5. I'm going to be using one of these. And also this felt pumpkin, also from Dollar Tree. First, let me say I am no artist, but I did want to try to paint a pumpkin on this canvas. And the way that I'm going to do that is by simply laying this felt pumpkin over the canvas. So I'm going to start by outlining the pumpkin using a pencil. I'm only going to outline the outer border of the pumpkin. And once I remove it, it should look like this. I'm not sure if you can see it because the light is pretty bright, but it is outlined. I'll be using this acrylic paint. It's called Pumpkin Orange, and also this color called Nutmeg Brown. So I'm going to start off with the orange paint, and then I'm going to add some brown. And now I'm just going to mix them together. I didn't have the color that I wanted, so that's why I'm creating my own orange color. And now with that orange color, I'm going to paint my pumpkin. I'm just going to follow the inside border. This is a Dollar Tree acrylic paint, and it's called Fawn. So I'm going to go in with this one, and I'm going to paint the outer border of the pumpkin. And this is how it's looking so far. Now I'm going to add some more of that brown around the edges and just areas that I want a deeper color. Remember, I'm trying to be an artist. I'm not, but I'm just kind of just using my own imagination as to how I want this picture to look or this painting to look. Just keep in mind, if you decide to do this project, just use whatever colors that you want, because remember, it is your painting, so it doesn't have to be exactly like mine. I'm just kind of showing you how I did this painting. I wanted the paint to dry quickly, so I went ahead and I used a hair dryer. Once the paint was dry, I put the pumpkin back on the canvas again. And now I'm going to go in with this darker brown, and it's called Chocolate Bark. I'm going to stencil in that color with a sponge brush, as you see me do there. I'm going to fill in all those lines and then go around the border of the pumpkin. And here's the reveal. Okay, so I'm not done with it yet. I'm going to soften all those lines. So I'm going to go back and put some more brown in the edges and just soften everything up. And here I went back with some fawn color, and really I just played around with the paints until I was satisfied in how my painting looked. And I also added some of that fawn color in the center of my pumpkin. In one of my recent shorts, I talked about finding this item at Dollar Tree and that I had an idea for it. So my idea for this is to light up the pumpkin or the jack-o'-lantern's head. I'm going to start by removing the netting it has and also the string that's attached to the very top. So I want to create an opening at the top of the pumpkin. So what I'm going to do is place the solar light on top as you see me do there and trace it out with a marker. And now I'm ready to cut out the opening, and I'll be using a box cutter for that. And to attach the solar light, I'm going to use some Gorilla Glue. Since it's going to be outdoors, this needs to be weatherproof. Now for this DIY, I'm going to be using these two clear mugs to create some candles. I've never made any candles, so we'll be doing this together for the first time. For this first candle, I'm going to use these candles from Dollar Tree, the orange, the yellow, and the white. So what I needed to do first was melt the wax. So I placed them on top of my stove at a very low setting in a pot with some water, as you can see there. This is the technique that I'm using. I've seen other people put them in the oven, but I was scared to do that. This is where we're at about 45 minutes, give or take. Before I put the wax in, I'm going to get the mug ready. So I'm going to hot glue the wick to the bottom of the mug. I'm going to pour in the first layer of wax in the yellow color. I actually poured the whole candle, which I shouldn't have, but anyhow, this is my first time. I used some of this essential oil in the scent orange. I'm going to add a few drops to the melted wax since the wax doesn't really have any scent. I also used a pencil to keep the wick straight up. I waited until the wax hardened until I poured the next layer, which is the orange color. And then once the second layer of wax hardened, I topped it off with the last wax, and that's in the color white. And this is how it turned out. I'm calling this my candy corn candle. For my next candle, I'm going to use this Walmart brand. It's the Mainstay, and it is in the color chocolate brown. The reason I went with this candle is because I needed that specific color for this candle. I'm going to make 2 more candles, and I'm going to use this one here, this pumpkin spice. This is also from Walmart. Okay, so I'm melting both of these candles. So now I'm going to pour the chocolate brown into this other clear mug. And this is how it looks once the wax hardened, and now I'm just going to cut off the excess wick. I'm also going to use the square wax melts, and these are from Dollar Tree in the white color. I'm going to cut 2 of the blocks and then half those 2 blocks and then cut them again until I create small little blocks. So what I'm trying to create is mini marshmallows. So I'm just going to press them and mold them into small little squares. And once I have all the pieces that I want, now I'm going to add them to my mug. And here is my hot cocoa with marshmallows candle. I'm also going to make another candle with this Dollar Tree ramekin and also this Dollar Tree pumpkin trinket jar. For those 2, I'll be using the melted wax of this pumpkin spice. And so now that the wax has hardened, I'm going to go ahead and cut the wick off this one here and this one. For this one, I put 2 wicks. And here is the pumpkin jar. This is absolutely adorable. I will be gifting this out. And here is the ramekin with 2 wicks. Walmart has these plastic pumpkin pails for $1.98. So I grabbed several of these because I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them. For this project, I'm going to use only 1 of these pumpkins, and down at the bottom, I've made a marking because I'm going to have to make an opening. For this paper towel holder, I'm going to have to slip it through the bottom as I'm showing you right there. I'll be using my handy drill, and I'll make 3 holes. And I'll finish up cutting up the hole using my box cutter. I'm going to be using this ghost from Dollar Tree. So as I open up the ghost, it has a foam as a head and it also has some arms as well. I'm going to be careful cutting off the fabric off of them. I'm going to attach the foam to the top of the paper towel holder. I'll be using some hot glue for that. And I'll also be using a piece of duct tape to make sure that it stays in place. Now I'm going to drape the fabric over it and I'm going to make sure that the printed face is to the back. And now I'm just going to tuck in the fabric into my pumpkin. For this, I'm going to use some floral wire because I didn't have a safety pin. And so all I'm going to do is just attach my fabric together and then just twist the ends of the floral wire. Now I'm going to take this Dollar Tree foam pumpkin and I'm going to cut it in half. Now I'm going to use the half portion as a hat for my ghost. I'm going to be using this pumpkin orange acrylic paint to paint the inside of my pumpkin and also the outside. Once the paint dried, this is how it turned out. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is create a pumpkin stem for it. So I'm going to be using this wrapping brown paper and I'm going to start by twisting the center until it forms a stem. And then I'm going to flatten out the sides and then cut the excess paper off. I also added some hot glue between the paper, that way it could stay together. And then I pressed it down until the glue hardened. I cut off the pumpkin stem and then I added the stem that I had made by simply hot gluing it on top. And then I embellished my stem with some fall florals. And then I hot glued the hat to my ghost. I used the eyes from this Dollar Tree ghost and I put them on my ghost, and all I did was just take them off and hot glue them onto my ghost. I absolutely love how my friendly ghost turned out. Let me know what you think. For this project, I'm going to use 3 of the pumpkin pails. I'm going to start by removing the handles of all 3 of them. Now here comes the hard part. I'm going to cut out the eyes, the nose, and the mouth using a box cutter. Here's the eye, and now I'm going to continue doing the rest. I'll come back when I've done the other 2. Ta-da! They're done. Let me tell you, this was a lot of hard work. But as they say, hard work pays off because I love how they turned out once I'm done with them. I'm going to use this silver metallic spray paint to paint the inside of my pumpkins. I'm going to do the same thing to the other 2. I use some painter's tape and I tape the inside part of the eyes, nose, and mouth as I'm showing you right there. I'll be using this spray paint to paint the outside of my pumpkins. Now I'm going to use this stone texture as a top finish to my pumpkins. Now I'm going to give it a few hours until the top coat dries. And this is how they turned out. And now I'm going to stack them up and I'll be using some hot glue to attach them together. For the meantime, I'm going to use these LED tea light candles from Dollar Tree. For this project, I'm going to use only 1 of the pumpkin pails. I'm going to cut off the handles, and I'll be using the stem from this branch. And I'm going to cut off the thinner branches and just stay with the main one that's the thickest one. I cut a piece of this pool noodle and I'm going to be applying it to the tip of my branch. I'm not sure what this is called, but it's a green ball that I've had already for a while. So what I'm going to do is cut an opening up at the top and then I'm going to stick my stick in there, and that's why I needed the piece of pool noodle so that it would stay in place and not slip out. I'm going to take this foam block and I'm going to hot glue it to the bottom of my pail. And now I'm able to put in the stick into the foam. For extra support, I added some pieces of pool noodle, and now what I'm doing is adding some floral moss. I also added pieces to the sides by hot gluing it. And now I have this cute topiary. This is going to be the easiest DIY, but the cutest, I think. So you're going to use one pumpkin pail and just fill it with all of these pumpkin picks from Dollar Tree. That's what I did. So basically, I'm using this as a vase, but it turned out so beautiful with all these pumpkins. I decided to add some of these fall leaves, and these are also from Dollar Tree. If you're still watching, thank you so much. Please let me know which was your favorite. For this DIY, I'm going to create an amazing DIY using these Dollar Tree paper towel holders. For this project, you're going to need 4 of these paper towel holders. You're going to start by attaching 2 paper towel holders as I'm showing you right there, and you're going to attach them by using zip ties. I started by adding 1 zip tie in the center and then 1 on each side. Now I'm going to follow the same steps to the other 2, and this is what they'll look like. I'll be attaching them to this wood panel, and this can be found in the Plush section at Dollar Tree. So I'm going to be placing that piece of wood over my paper towel holders that now look like wheels. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to slip a can of spray paint underneath, so I just needed to keep them in balance while I super glue and hot glue them together. I prefer to use Gorilla Glue. So I'm going to start by adding the glue along the side of the board and then adding hot glue. A lot of you have asked me about my glue gun, and this is a cordless glue gun. I absolutely love it. If you're interested in one, you can go to my Amazon store. I've linked it there under My Tools. You can find my Amazon link in the description box. Now I'm going to bring the wire over the glues and hold it down. I'm going to let the super glue harden. That's why I've put some painter's tape over it. I'm going to give it a few hours until I go on to the next step. And the next step will be to paint it. And this is how it looks painted. I apologize. I thought I was filming painting it, and the paint I actually used, but it did not record. Obviously, I didn't hit the record button, but this is how it turned out, and it is just a brown satin spray paint that I used. I will list it in the description box. In the Plush section at Dollar Tree, they have these stackable pumpkins. I'm only going to use the bottom one, and the reason for that is because it's the perfect size that I needed for this DIY. I'll be spray painting it with this spray paint in the color Thunder Cloud. And once the paint dries, I'll be using this stone texture from Rust-Oleum. Once my paint dried with both sprays, this is how my pumpkin turned out. I really love how the texture spray looks on it. It gave it such a nice finish. I'll be using this pumpkin as a vase. So I'm going to crumble up some paper and I'm going to stuff it with that. Since the pumpkin is so big, I needed to fill out the space. I'll be using a variety of florals from Dollar Tree. There's some pumpkin picks and just an array of different fall bouquets. I like to spread these stems apart. That way, when I put in the bouquet, it just looks fuller. And so now I'm going to place my pumpkin over my carriage. And to embellish my carriage, I'm going to use this fall leaf garland and wrap it around. And then lastly, I'm just going to add these fall leaves. I think this pumpkin carriage turned out so beautiful. I absolutely love it. You could also add some fairy lights, but I just loved it just as is, so I left it like this. Let me know if you're going to be creating this pumpkin carriage. On my last Dollar Tree haul, I picked up this plush bag, and this was in the plus section. It's only $3, so I think this is a good deal for what I want to make with this. I'm going to start by cutting off the handles. I created some tassels that I'll be using in this bag. Let me show you how I created them. I'm going to start by cutting 2 pieces of this black yarn. And I'm going to set those aside for now. I'm going to use this cardboard. It's about 4 inches in width. So what I'm going to do is wrap the yarn around it about 20 times. Now I'm going to cut the yarn. I'm going to take 1 piece of yarn and slip it up at the top, as you see me do there, and tie it. Now that I've tied it, I'm going to hold the 2 strings together and then slip the remaining yarn off the cardboard. Now I'm going to take the other piece and lay it flat, and then lay my bundle over it and then tie another knot. And now I'm going to cut the loops and then cut off the tips on the bottom just so it looks even. And that's how you create a tassel. Next, I'm going to hot glue my tassels around my bag. And now I'm going to cut the excess yarn from the tassels. I'll be using some of this cotton from an old pillow, and I'm going to stuff my bag down. And now I'm going to seal off the top opening with some hot glue. And now I have this adorable jack-o'-lantern pillow. Well, that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up and also share. That'll really help my channel. You have yourself a blessed day, and until my next video, bye-bye and God bless.